It is so beautiful to come here and listen to such gorgeous voices. Thank you. I'm really grateful, really grateful. I'm going to talk about gratitude. It's November. It's November. And it is, our theme for the month was gratitude is a superpower. It really is a superpower. Don't underestimate it. Don't underestimate its power. And if it's a superpower, it belongs to all of us, and we can use it. That's what I want. That's what I was hoping for this month. And today's talk is gratitude is a way of life. It's not just once in a while. It's a way of life. Just as for me, spirituality is a way of life, doing my spiritual practices is a way of life, and gratitude is one of the tools that I can pull out and use daily. So I'm going to talk about it today. Let's see, Plato said, and I always thought it was Eric Butterworth. There's a book downstairs by Eric Butterworth, and I'm pretty sure he says it here, but something similar. But Plato was probably the originator of this saying. A grateful mind is a great mind, and that mind will eventually attract to itself great things. So what you are, as a man, in the Bible it says as a man, and I'm sure they meant women. No, I'm sure they didn't, but God meant man and woman. God meant everybody, no matter what you call yourself. God is so darned inclusive that it boggles the human mind. Anyway, so something said, as a person thinketh in their heart, so they are, so they become. So they start to manifest. That's what you'll run into. So a grateful heart will draw great things to you. That's according to Plato and Eric Butterworth, and probably lots of other people, because I don't think God drops wisdom down once. Oh, that was all the wisdom you get today. Okay, this humanity, I gave them wisdom last century, and so I don't know what they did with it. So anyway, it's always speaking. I love it. Is it the Methodists, I think, that say God is still talking? Spirit is still speaking. Good ideas are still being dropped down into our consciousness when we're willing to receive it. But I really love this idea, and I want to pick it apart a little bit. This saying, a grateful mind attracts to itself great things, simplifies the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is part of the law of cause and effect. Because the law of cause and effect, we could study all sorts of angles for that. But the law of attraction is what you have inside of you, what you identify with, you will attract to you circumstances that support that identity. And so I love this because, who was it that said this? Oprah. So I got Plato and Oprah. I mean, I hope I fill all your needs. You're philosophical, or Oprah said it. Anyway, Oprah said, be thankful for what you have and you'll end up having more. You'll end up having more. So let's look at this a little bit. What Kathianne says is, love what you have and you'll have more of what you love. Because if you're already in love, you've got to attract things that are lovely to you, specifically to you, in ways that are important to you. Now, the lesson is that love attracts because we have appreciated something, and so we're going to have more to appreciate. I've been looking at love and how to be love, and we don't get a lot of training in that. Isn't it interesting that the most important things that a human being can do, have, or know in the world, there's no training for? Not really. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy mind, and with all thy being, and love thy neighbor as thyself. And yet, if you don't love yourself, you can't love your neighbor. And do you see how do you do that? But what I am discovering is that love is like light, because God is light and God is love. And it has variations just like light has variations. There's yellow light, purple light, blue light, all of this kind of fragments of light. And love, part of the fragments of love is gratitude and appreciation and attention. So what you're giving your attention to By appreciating it, you're going to get more of, because love is an attractor. Love's an attractor. And I just need to throw this out there, because there may be somebody in this audience that tries to make things happen, who is... You know what? Nobody fessed up first service. I said that you would fess up second service. I told them. I said, second service is going to fess up to this. They're the holy ones. You're the truthful ones. Anyway, there's a whole different vibration for people that get up early and show up at 9 o'clock. I'm telling you, there's a whole different vibration. Here's the deal. The universe, God, Atman, Jehovah, Krishna, whatever you want to call it, knows what you'll love more than you'll know what you love. The human mind, the ego, tries to fix. I know what I'd like. How many of you have ever been, I know what I'd like. I know what I'd like. Yes. And then if you're really good at mind manipulation, because the law of cause and effect works, you will get what you wanted. And then sometimes you have to pray yourself out of that situation. And I've talked about this before because it happens. I watch people, no, this is what I want. And then really, when we allow ourselves to love what is so, to appreciate what's going on, we must attract to ourselves more to love and more to appreciate, and the universe knows better our soul because it is us. It knows better what will fill us than we do. Boy, that's humbling for the ego. Just take a deep breath and just love your head. It's okay, ego. Because the ego was created to keep us safe, and to it, safety means sameness. And the soul wants expansion into something we may not even know that we really wanted. So, I love it, Oprah. Be thankful for what you have, and you'll end up having more of what you love. And then I just want to, I'll get to that in a minute. Never mind. No, I'll give it to you now. Gratitude is consistently portrayed as a transformational force in religious traditions. A transformational force. One that shifts focus from scarcity to abundance, from self-centeredness to connection, from anxiety to peace. Across cultures and eras, these voices affirm that gratitude not only enriches the life, but also amplifies joy, resilience, and purpose. Who'd like a little more of that? More, please. Yeah, let's just do the Oliver thing. More, please. Yeah, I'd like that, but I'd like more, please. So I have to admit that sometimes I don't answer all the emails I get. I get lots of suggestions, but they either show up in my talks or my Wednesday faith lifts that go out. Sometimes they'll show up in the evening messages I send. Also, if you have not getting my evening messages at 8 o'clock, if you don't get those 8 o'clock things, you can sign up for them at the registration table. They're free. You just get a little thing to think about before you go to sleep. I was getting them at 6 o'clock in the morning in Egypt. I'll tell you, those calls will follow you anywhere. So but you have to have, I'm sorry, for those of you watching and you're in Canada, because I know I got a bunch of people from Canada, you have to have a U.S. phone number. That's all that's required. Anyway, back to my thought. I got an email last night from Rose Loper, and for those of you that know Rose Loper, she is a force to be reckoned with. That woman makes a decision. She made a decision to get in the Army. She made a decision to fly helicopters when women didn't. She made a decision that she would become a test pilot for Boeing when women didn't. She became a general. I mean, that woman, she's like, blah, 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 blah. So when she says, you'd like this book, I go, I probably would. And because I have Kindle and because I can download it, I stayed up most of the night reading the Dern book. And it was called, for those of you who want to get into it, The Gratitude Diaries, A Year of Looking on the Bright Side Can Change Your Life. Yeah. So it's written by a woman, Janice Kaplan, who was successful By most people's standards, she was successful. She was a writer. She'd written books. She'd written articles. She'd done study. She was highly regarded in whatever field that she was in. Now this is her own words, she was married to a handsome doctor. I mean, come on. You know, like, I'm doing well, he's doing well. She had great friends, 2 sons that loved her. She lived in one of the most prestigious areas of New York City with a view of trees. Like, all the things you might check off, she could check off. And she was not fulfilled. Something was missing. I want to just get there because stuff doesn't fulfill us. And sometimes you have to have a lot of stuff to realize that that stuff doesn't fulfill you. Sometimes things have to crash to realize that there was no stability in it. So she looked around, wanted to do something that would shift things, and she did. She was talking to a friend who was bubbly and vivacious, and she said, "How is it that you're so happy?" And she said, "I practice gratitude." So she went on, she just dived right into gratitude. And she did this because she did a little research. So I'm going to share some of the research that she researched. This is like the Reader's Digest of the Reader's Digest of what you, so you may not have to read the book. Number 1, she did some research into the John Templeton Foundation's study of gratitude, where they discovered there was a gratitude gap. And I love studies. Like, how do they do this? But I'm just going to give you some facts, so I'm like going, what? Anyway, what they discovered was there was a gratitude gap because 94% of Americans knew, and see if you know this too, that gratitude would lead to more fulfillment and richer lives. They knew it would. How many of you know that if you were grateful, you would have a better life? See? Great. Now, the rest of it, the gap. 50% of the people, not 94, 50% of the people tried it sort of, kind of. How many of you are there? You're in the gap. It's not the holy gap that we teach about, but it is a gap. We know, how many of you know things that would work? And most of you do know things that would work. How many of you know if you shifted one thing or added one thing, your life would be better? Oh yeah, guess what? You know why you come here? You come here to remember that and get encouraged to do it. Do it. Because we know all sorts of stuff. Ernest Holmes a long time ago said most metaphysicians are overread and underdone. We all know. We know we should do forgiveness, don't we? Yeah. Do you know that if you spent half an hour connecting with your God in the morning, you would have a better day? How many of you know that? How many of you do it? A few. Thank you, guys. But it was about, guess what? It was about 94, 50. Not even 50%. This is the thing. We come here to remember and be encouraged and inspired to do what we know we should be doing. There's nothing new. I think it was Jerry Hudson last week said, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just the remembering to do it. So that's what John Templeton found. Then he went on to say, or at least not John Templeton, but the foundation went on to say, don't mix it up with happiness. It's not happiness. Happiness is the effect of something that you call good happening to you. So this good thing happened, you're kind of happy about it, or really happy about it. But I love it. The study said it's fragile and fleeting. I read a long time ago that if you want to be happy for 3 weeks, who'd like to be happy for 3 weeks? 3 weeks of happiness. Wow. You just buy a new car. And as soon as the bills start to, and the payments start to like dawn on you, well, it's not so happy. But you were for a while, right? They should have a cologne called New Car. Oh, I love new car smells. Who else likes new car smells? Anyway, What they went on to say was that when they were making the differentiation between happiness and gratitude is a practice. It's a practice. It's not an outcome. It's a practice. It's an active emotional involvement. You see something that you are grateful for, and then you stop and appreciate it and feel it. You let gratitude get into your heart. And what she went on to say is that what she found is by taking a year to focus on this gratitude and this gratitude and this gratitude, pretty soon she started looking for gratitude. She started looking for the things to be grateful for. Instead of, having to find something, she just saw it everywhere. She looked for that. There used to be a bumper sticker. I think it was put out by Unity. Or, we should have got there first. But anyway, look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. Now, remind me to go back there in a second because I got more to say, all right? But remind me. Now, here's the weird thing. This is another study from the John Templeton Foundation. And how they did this, I don't know. But what they found is that gratitude may have the highest connection to mental health and happiness of any personality trait. They also found that somehow, I wrote this down, somehow they concluded, because they did conclude, but I wrote down, somehow they concluded. Because how did they conclude this? They concluded that gratitude attributed 18.5% more happiness per person. 18.5% is a little specific. It makes me suspicious. But John Templeton, that foundation was created to support ideas that would help people grow spiritually. They wanted to support the spiritual nature of humanity. So I have to believe them. But I still don't understand. 18.5%. So if you're like 50% happy, you could be, what is that? That's almost 70% happier. Happiness, that's not bad. That's a big chunk. And if you're like happy once in a while, you could be happy more than once in a while. That could be great. So let's go on. Are you ready to go there? Yes. Great. Thank you. I've talked you into this. You will have a better life. You'll thank me later. The way you do it is reframe something. You reframe it. Nothing's going to change, but you can reframe it. I'll give you the best illustration I have. We are having We are having a coat drive. I call it the Ann Masterson coat drive because it all happened when Ann Masterson's car got broken into. I don't know how you do that with windows anymore. They got safety windows. But anyway, they broke the window out of her car, and the only thing they took was a coat, a brand new coat. So she could have said, oh, my brand new coat, I just got that coat. You know what she said? I can buy another coat. Somebody wanted a coat so bad they did this. So I'm going to start a coat drive. We've been doing it for over 20 years now. I think we've passed out thousands of coats because we attract more than 100 a year for people that are cold. By the way, advertisement. How many of you have ever bought 32-degree clothing? They're really warm or they're really cool. 32 degrees is great. They're now doing coats. They have the warmest coats I've ever experienced. They're less than $20 at Costco right now. So you go through with your cart and you're buying, like big things of racks of lamb and enough vegetables that they'll rot before you cook them. And that's my experience of Costco, right? Not racks of lamb, but we can't get through those vegetables. Anyway, bananas and all those other things, and you just put in a coat. And it looks like just part of the grocery bill. But if we all did that, how many people would be warm? Like super warm with super quality coats. Just saying, okay? All right. It's a reframe. She reframed something So that not only she shifted her consciousness, she created a benefit and a blessing for at least 20 years for people who wanted it. Are you willing to reframe? The next thing is that I'm going to talk about aging, because I realize I've been at this a while, and I'm not the same age as when I started. And it's like really hard to grasp. But anyway, I thought about that like, oh, I'm older than I should be. I'm older than I feel. And then I think, well, what's the alternative? I'm so grateful I'm alive. Yesterday, I'm finally getting to the place because I did a little prayer over my horse. And he had done cow work, but basically I had to show him how to do the cow work. He was interested, but he wasn't like cowy. He was just interested. And I did a prayer over him before I got started, and I said, okay, Lakota, because Lakota was one of my other horses, you were cowy, just influence Dreamer somehow so he becomes clowy. I wasn't expecting it. A cowy horse, I don't know how he does it, or they do it, but they bend down so they're at the cow level and they can look the cow in the eye and scare him to death. I mean, really. And he went, and I'm on him, and then he goes, it's like, I now know why God invented saddle horns. Because there's no more sitting on that horse. But I can do that. I am grateful that I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm interested. I got stuff to do. God's not done with me yet. Do you see how that's a reframe? What do you need to reframe? This is what I want to ask you right now is what do you need to reframe? What have you been challenged with and criticized yourself about or them about or whatever? And what needs to be reframed? Because that will give you the opportunity to go into gratitude. Gratitude is an aspect of love. See, I don't know how to do love all the time. Trust me. I know I should. I'm pretty good at loving the Lord my God with all my heart, with all my mind, and with all my attention and all my clarity. But me and others, I'm a work in progress. But I can be grateful. And gratefulness, gratitude, thanksgiving is connected to love, and it opens love up. So what do you need to reframe so that more love shows up in your heart, your mind, your soul, your body, your activities, your life? Because love changes everything. Love changes everything for the better. Love changes everything. That's Aspects of Love by Andrew Lloyd Webber that our dear Jake still doesn't know anyway. No, I say, do you know that song? Nope. Anyway, I'll just keep singing it eventually. So, what's a gripe that you've had? What is something that is really, it's not that this is not spiritual bypass. You're not denying how you feel. You're not denying what happened. Ann Masterson did not say, no one broke into my car. She didn't say, oh, it's okay. She said, I see now that I can do something. She reframed. And now I got to say this. This is not easy for the ego. For all of you that raised your hands and knew that you could do something that would change your life and you're not doing it, it's because the ego, that part of our brain, our synapses, the way we are created is conditioned to look for and examine and magnify problems because that's how it survived. It is biological. It is genetic. It's the way the brain works. This is studied. The study also says that you have to have 4 positive statements for every negative belief. And how many of you have a few negative beliefs? You're going to be busy. But you got to do something. And except for if you go for mysticism, but that's a different thing. Then you have your beliefs changed for you. But anyway, for most of us, we have to work at this, to shift this, to shift what's going on. I also heard I read. How many of you read that it takes 21 days to change a habit, a way of looking at things? Well, guess what? It's been upgraded, or I should say downgraded. Studies. I love this. This study stuff. They now prove that it takes at least 2 months to change the way that you've been thinking. Sorry. Well, then why even try? Well, because it'll change your life. That's why you're going to try it. But I am so moving into, and I will encourage you to do it. Do it if you choose. So many of us are accidental. Did anybody read or watch the movie The Accidental Tourist? So many of us are accidental tourists in our own life. Shows up, we deal with it. Shows up, we deal with it. Shows up. I'm done with that. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make gratitude a real practice. And I've done it, and then I haven't. And then I've done it, and I haven't. And I've done it, and I haven't. What about a year? What about a year of just writing one gratitude before I go to bed? What? Come on. That's all she did was write one gratitude before she went to sleep. Come on. And all of her relationships with work, with her neighborhood, with her neighbors, with her husband, with her kids changed. One gratitude. Who's signing up? Thank you. Who's going to take a thing that bothers them a lot and they're going to reframe it in a way that works? Yes. And it works. I need to read this one thing because I think it's important. Gratitude is strongest, clearest, and most robust and radical when things are really hard. Now, let's check inside, sweethearts, because if something's not happening now, it may happen. It may not be you, it may be someone that you love. And this is when it's most powerful. Yes, it changed the life of someone who we would look at and go, what's your problem? But she was empty. But it's incredibly important because it is an aspect of love, and love changes things. So who wants to sign up for meeting difficulty with gratitude? Hallelujah. Let's pray. Oh, sweet Spirit, thank you for bringing us here together to remember again, to remember again, to remember again. Things we've already known, that we've suspected, that we've put on the back shelf because we've been busy doing stuff. We've been busy planning our life, and life says, I've got a plan for you. See the difference? And we start to walk that path, that way of living through gratitude, through appreciation, through putting our attention on those things that we love, on the things that work. And we say, wow, so much more, even more. More, please. I can have more. And so I speak my word of blessing for each individual who has made a commitment to reframe trouble and to find the blessing within it. I bless that. I am joining together in that consciousness that love will remind us day after day to be grateful, that something within us will remind us to reframe, that we have the power to do so. And I speak my word of blessing upon every thanksgiving and gratitude expressed within the heart of anyone in this room and anyone watching, that love, that gratitude ripples out not only to shift our life, but to be a blessing to others. For God's idea of good is greater than just us. We are a center of divine operation, an epicenter of spirit showing up in the flesh. And that epicenter reaches, blesses. And we get to watch it, enjoy it, and not have to do it. What we do is we make commitments to be our best version day after day after day. And we'll fall down and we'll get up, and we'll fall down and we'll get up. But eventually, our mantra will be, I'm grateful, so grateful. I am one with the Spirit all around me. I'm grateful, so grateful. I'm one with God. I know it said Spirit, but I like God because it's short and it's sweet and I can spell it. What if that was our mantra? What if we went around and we were just so grateful for not only the way that Jake plays, but the way he improvises and he makes songs we know sound like songs we've never heard before? What if we could hear the subtleness and yet the depth of what Yuri puts into just the shaking of things? What if we not only appreciated the music, but the consciousness from which that music came? What if we appreciated that t-shirt and wanted one of our own? What if that was normal for us? What if we saw issues and knew that we were grateful that perhaps we're seeing it because we can do something about it? So let's sing it together. This is our mantra. This is our closing prayer. I'm grateful, so grateful. I am one with the Spirit all around me. I'm grateful, so grateful. I'm one with God. And then we say, and so it is.